Hello YouTube, I'm back with another video. Those of you that are new, my name is William. I teach agriculture education in Rolla, North Dakota. Rolla is considered a border town, the Canadian border, probably less than 10 miles away. I create videos to help agriculture teachers maybe make life a little bit easier for them. I share ideas that work for me that might work for someone else. So this video is using like Blooket, Kahoot, Quizzes. I use those three quite frequently in my programs. I use them as assessment tools. A nice thing about all of those, after each time you use them, it creates a report that I can use to collect scores. So you gotta be careful, check with your school to see if it's okay to assess that way. I did, just to make sure. I prefer Blooket because Blooket can just be, when they log in with their Chromebook, everything just pops up on their Chromebook. Sometimes when you use Kahoot, they have to use the smartboard but answer on their Chromebook, but they don't get like the photo. If you're understanding what I'm saying, the photo will be up here with ABCD, and then ABCD is color related, and the colors pop up on there. So they gotta look up here. Where Blooket, it just pops up on their Chromebook. It's a lot easier. The kids like it too, because pictures are a little easier to identify with, I've noticed, on a Chromebook. But anyways, I'm going to show you how I use this in my program, especially for ID. All right. I've been mainly using Blooket, but I do have a few Kahoots that I use, and then I use Quizzes in like equine science class just to break it up a little bit. I have some kids that I teach 3 times a day. They take 3 A classes a day, and a lot of them have an ID portion in them. So they get kind of sick of Kahoot. Well, then there's Blooket, and then there's Quizzes, so that works. But anyways, so this year in horticulture class and natural resources class, I'm using Blooket for my weekly IDs. All right, so I have weekly IDs. So what I do each week, the kids get 5 plants, horticulture tools, landscaping plants. In horticulture or in natural resources, they get 5 wildlife animals they have to memorize. And it grows each week. So on week 1, they get 5. Week 2, now they have 10. Week 3, they have 15. So they always will have to keep memorizing the past, but I just add 5 each week. So by the end of the semester, take 18 times 5. That's how many they'll have on their tests. All right, so how I get started here is I use the ID list from our North Dakota CDE events. So this here is a combination of floriculture and landscape. So I just take the ID that they would use in those CDEs, and I just pick 5 each week. Okay, and then it grows from there. All right, so then what I do is I create a Google slide, and then I just upload. So as you can see here, I'm going to jump over here. The first 5 were, the beginning of the week, beginning of the school year, but it just keeps growing. Okay, so it just keeps growing throughout the semester. I re-upload this every week to their Google Classroom so that they have the 5. So they just study throughout the week. Some kids study a little bit more. Some probably just like study the night before or the morning of. And so when that's done, I go ahead and then add them to Blooket. You can use Kahoot, you know, if you like Kahoot, Quizzes, okay? And then so what I do is each week, okay, I just continue to add to there. All right, so that's how I use it. It's a great way for kids to learn, I think, the ID. You know, it's probably a standard in most of our programs that they be able to identify plants and tools in whatever class that it's been assigned to. We do it two ways. I use Blooket and Kahoot and Quizzes. So the first time through is their grade. So if I host this, let me go back here, my sets. I'll host it, okay? So the first time I use Kahoot, I'll use Classic. I guess I should say Kahoot, this is Blooket. First time I use Blooket, they go Classic. That's kind of like, picture shows up for choice. It's like a multiple choice. It's just, if you're similar to Kahoot, this is just like Kahoot, okay? So the first time through is their grade, all right? Then once everyone gets done, we do it again, but for a prize. So we'll pick one of these to play. The kids love either Gold Quest or Fishing Frenzy. Those are the two that we mainly play. We'll play it for, you can kind of set it up the way you want it, and then they play for a prize. All right, so they play it twice. So using these types of tools sometimes makes kids a little bit more exciting about learning about topics. Plus, I use it for other, you know, if I go back here, can I go back? I go back here, okay. I also use it just for welding. You know, I've used it for comparing gas cutting versus plasma cutting. You know, they'll have a reading worksheet, and then they just answer questions off here. I do the same thing with Kahoot. I do the same thing with Quizzes. So don't be afraid to use these. Yes, they do take time to create, but I'm going to be honest, if you're typing up a multiple choice quiz, it takes the same amount of time. All right, so I always, you know, I use the photos. I have the photos saved to a folder on my computer, so then I can just upload them. So go ahead, give Blooket and Kahoot and Quizzes and that other online stuff a try. You're gonna find out that your kids kind of like it a little bit better than a paper assessment. They can get a little competitive if you add a little twist to it. So they do, you know, create that report when you are done. So if I go to my history, here's my history, all right? The kids don't see this. So when I am done, I unshare my computer to my smart board, and then if I wanted to, I can go look on my wildlife. Oops, that's not touch. That's touch screen. I can see what's on. Now I'm not gonna scroll, because if I scroll, it will show student scores. So I'm not gonna scroll for you, just because I don't want my students, because my kids have to use their names when it comes to the assessment. So if I was to scroll down, it will tell me what kids received on the test assessment, and then that's the grade I get. So nice thing is it's already scored for you also. So especially if you have some, if you're on a time crunch, a lot of times on Friday, we're always on a time crunch. So, because that's when I give these, it's there. And so it will always be there. So if I go back, so if I don't grade right away, so let's say I wait till like Monday to put the grades in, it shows every single time I've played it. So that's kind of nice. You can delete them after a while. I don't, in case a kid, I save them in case a kid wants to argue that I put the grade in incomplete. I can go back and we can look at their Blooket score and so there. But anyways, go ahead, give Blooket a try, give Kahoot a try, give Quizzz a try. Guys, use the free version. That's what I do. I just use the free versions and you'll always have it. Plus, they're always a good resource for your CDEs. So now I have horticulture ID, floriculture ID, landscaping ID, wildlife ID. In Kahoot, I have small animal care ID. I have them all created so that the kids you can just assign it out and then they can study. So it's kind of nice. Plus you're creating your slides. Now the kids also have this to study from when it comes to your CDEs. So you're kind of getting 2 activities done with 1 tool. So both in the classroom and in the FFA. So I hope you give these a try and continue to have a fun school year. Bye.